So welcome to episode 3 of Riding with Friends. This week's a tricky one actually, because I'd not planned this one at all. Not that I really planned much of the other ones, to be fair, but this one I really want to talk about how well I was doing. As you all know, my therapy sessions kind of finished 2.5 weeks ago. And they were going really, really well. I was making huge progress, feeling really good, positive. Things were great. Things had happened at home which was making other things great as well. And we were just generally on and up. But I noticed the last few days, probably, what day is it now? It's Thursday today. So at least since Saturday. I'm in the wrong lane, damn it. That was bad. Anyway, so at least since Saturday, I don't know, I felt things starting to be a bit weird, a bit quiet. Now, I've not felt depression since January, when I really started gelling with my counsellor, my psychologist. And, I was feeling really, really good. And then all of a sudden, the Saturday morning, I felt almost like a mini depressed mood, and I didn't really think much of it because I thought, maybe I'm just a bit tired. But then things started to not escalate, but certainly thinking back now, I can spot things, triggers. I can spot the signs. It's things I can look out for moving forward. Some lovely yellow fields, is it? Do I need that down? No, I don't need that down. We're okay. Although it is nice. You just hit that pothole proper bad. So looking back, I've started to notice some of the early signs of my depression or my depressive moods starting to kick in. Because it wasn't until yesterday, so Wednesday, when it really hit me, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is depression again. Because Tuesday wasn't great, a lack of motivation, but yesterday was just awful. Just didn't feel good at all, and I'd identified it then. And then looking back, as you do, so whenever I have anxiety attacks or whenever I'm feeling anxious, whenever I have my depressive moods, my depression, when that kicks in, once the event is kind of over and I have the opportunity, or during it if I can, I'll look back and try to establish, okay, what were the build-ups, what were the signs, what was I doing, how was I behaving, etc, etc. And I noticed a couple of patterns this time round. And I'll try and do this in a logical way if I can, but bear with me because it's going to be a bit chaotic. So last week, episode 2, we spoke about external validation. So the Panigale, for one, that was like an external, get my external validation from the Panigale, because I pull up somewhere, people see it, it's a nice bike, they come over, they talk to me, it makes me feel good. And there's always been that link between owning or buying something or telling somebody that you've got something that seeks their approval. And it's not always to seek their approval. Sometimes it's just that sense of, I've bought something that I want and now I feel happy. So for example, today, you'll be able to see here, I'm not using, on the chin, I'm not using my Instago 3S, which is what I normally use. I'm now using a DJI Osmo Action 6, which I bought at the weekend. Now, normally I'm well behaved and I can tell myself that no, you don't need it because you've got the Go 3S, it's fine, you don't need that sort of stuff. Whereas this time round, I couldn't fight the urge. I saw it, I wanted it, I justified it, I bought it. Now, granted, it is, I know I might do a review, I don't know, comment down below if you want me to do a review on it. But compared to the Go 3S, it is a better camera for many reasons. But that was one of the early signs. Looking back, it was like normally I'd be able to say, no, I don't need to. I've got stuff. But the weakness of my depression building up allowed me to buy it. There's a complacency element to it, and what I mean by that is you start to not care, which can be seen as, oh, I don't give a shit, just like, yeah, whatever, or you're just happy to sit back and do whatever. You just feel complacent, just, like you can't be bothered to just go, oh yeah, if somebody comes up and says something like, oh, I want to do this, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Or something that you'd have a thought about, you don't have that thought, you're just like, okay, you just let it go. The quietness and solitude, and that is exactly as it sounds. I could be sat at home with my family and still feel like I'm kind of alone, it's hard to explain this one, but you do almost feel just lonely, like isolated. I get isolated is probably a better word actually, but yeah, you get that isolation feeling, and I started to have that creep in a bit over the sort of weekend, where I was just quite happily just sat there a bit a bit isolated, feeling the need to go out and buy something. And these were all signs that I probably hadn't realised up to this point, that they were signs that actually the depression was coming. Tiredness, that's another one. You do feel just tired, just my eyes were just tired, and I was like, I just want to sleep. It's just constant tiredness. And then overeating, over drinking, so and that doesn't help either, because that's bloody no good for you, is it? So yeah, many signs that I've now sort of picked up on and realised that actually these are now the signs of me being able to identify when the depressive moods are on their way. Today, right here, right now, or certainly this morning, let's go back to this morning when I got to work. I sat down and I had no motivation completely out the window, as I can't be bothered to do anything. I certainly can't be asked to think about work. I don't have the brain power, I can't be bothered to do it. So that's what it's been like most of this week, is just not being bothered to try and do my work. And yet today when I got in, it was a bit different. I had a bit more focus, and I was like, oh, actually I can focus on a task, I can actually think about the task that I need to do. But the drive to do the task still wasn't there. So I sat there thinking about the task, thinking I have clarity of task. I still don't have the want to do it though. I still can't be asked to do it. I'd rather just take my phone out and doom scroll, or go onto Google and search for motorcycles because I want to buy something to make myself feel good, all that sort of stuff. But today I was a bit better. I felt a bit better today. Like I say, I don't feel quite as bad. Yesterday I was just sad. And I hate it when people say, oh, depression, yeah, I don't feel sad. Depression isn't sad. Okay, if you're sad, that's just sad. Depression is different to sad. You're sad if your dog dies. You're sad if something bad happens, or you're sad if you lose all your money out of the bank. That's not depression. Depression is different. And the best way that I can explain things like depression and anxiety, and this is only my perspective obviously, because I can't talk about how others experience it, because it's individual to the person. The way I experience it, and the best way I can explain the difference between just being sad, being lazy, or having actual depression, anxiety, ADHD, that kind of thing, is that the diagnosable items like depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, not autism, the diagnosable stuff is the stuff that you can't control. They're the stuff that if you had the capacity to, you would be able to snap yourself out of it, or like some people say, oh, can't you just be happy, or stop worrying. You can't do that. If you've got a diagnosable thing, that's the difference. if I become depressed, I can think about it. I can't do anything about it. I'm powerless to stop it, powerless to change it. I have to wait for whatever it is that's happened to run its course. And it's the same when I have anxiety. There are tools that you can use for anxiety, so I can accept. The same with depression. I can physically sit there and go, right, I accept that I'm now going to feel like this. I can't change the way that I feel, but I can accept it. So I'm not beating myself up over it. But it's really difficult. So if people say, you know, like, oh yeah, I've got ADHD because I don't do this, it's like, no, you're a lazy twat. Or, oh yeah, I've got depression because, you know, oh yeah, I keep feeling sad. It's like, no, you're just sad. There's something in your life that's not making you happy. Depression, anxiety, and all the other things that are diagnosable, you know if you got those, because A, you can get diagnosed for them, and B, you can't help it. I hear so many people talking about how they've got ADHD one minute and then they're going out doing stuff, and it's like, well, if you had ADHD you wouldn't be doing that, you wouldn't be able to. If you had depression, you wouldn't suddenly be able to say, I've got depression, I feel awful today, oh but I'm off out for a curry tonight with my mates. It's like, I don't work like that, mate. It's not selectable. And anybody that says it is selectable, or no, I can control it, then mate, you ain't got it. I'm sorry, but you ain't got it. You're just sad, or you're lazy, or whatever it is, and that will probably trigger a load of people. But you know, I'm not here to mollycoddle. For somebody that has a crippling, and it is crippling at times, all of the autism, the ADHDs, the anxieties, especially anxiety and depression, they can be crippling, because if you get an attack that's strong enough of any one of those, it can ruin you. It can take weeks out of your life where you can't do anything. The things that you love, like riding a bike. You know, I love riding a bike. I think part of the reason I was grumpy yesterday is because I had to take the car to work. But it can take the fun out of it. You could be on your bike and still depressed. It's horrible. I hate it. I wish I could switch it off. So yeah, when people say, oh yeah, I've got depression, I have anxiety, ADHD, or I'm self-diagnosed, I fucking hate that. Every time somebody says to me, I'm self-diagnosed, I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? How have you self-diagnosed? Because if you're telling somebody you've got it, and you're not actually formally diagnosed, chances are you probably ain't got it. And I'm not belittling people, I'm not taking it away from people. It's just get off your arse and go get a diagnosis. Don't just self-diagnose, because if you're wrong, you're a tosser, and you're taking a piss out of people that genuinely suffer. If you're right, there is help available, and it will change your life. It will make you better. It will it won't cure you, but it makes you better. It makes you a better person. It makes you feel better. It can change how you perceive the world. So yeah, any of you out there that think you've got it, or like to say you've got it, you want the label. Yeah, you want the label. Yeah, please just don't. Okay, it genuinely takes the mickey out of those that are genuinely struggling in life, but have actually, you know, bothered to make an effort to do something about it. Anyway, I'm going to have a rethink now, because I've gone off on a rant now for the last like 10 bloody minutes, and I didn't want to do that. But again, you know, I can't help it, I'm sorry. I'm going to have a rethink, I'm going to calm myself back down, I'll be back in a minute. So yeah, picking up the signs. So these are things now that I can keep an eye on. So at the moment, I know sitting here right now that I've still got urges. I want to buy a new phone, you know, I want to get a new bike, that sort of thing. So I now can link that heavily to okay, this is my depressive state. This is depression knocking on the door, and I know that now because, you know, I am back into a depressive state, which is bloody unfortunate because I was doing so well. tiredness is one. Tiredness can definitely be a sign, as can, you know, low mood and not being arsey. Anxiety makes me angry, not depression, believe it or not. My depression never makes me grumpy, my anxiety does. So low mood, low conversation, tiredness, all these for me attribute to my depressive state, and my lack of focus. And that's the big one for me, is the lack of focus, because it's that lack of focus that stops me being able to plan, and that not being able to plan is what stops me being able to try and talk myself, you know, well again. So remembering everything that my psychologist told me, you know, there were loads of little tricks that talk about, you know, emotion and letting things get away from you, and ability to control or to be able to, you know, help yourself. For example, you know, people will talk about anger is a bad mood. It's not a bad mood, but what you need to ask yourself is, anger in the right context is a weapon. It's a defense mechanism. If you're stood at a cash machine and somebody comes walking right up behind you and they're in your personal space, you might start to feel threatened because they're too close. Therefore, you might start to feel angry. Now, that anger is not now a bad mood. It is actually helpful, because it's going to keep you alert. It's going to make you aware of what's going on around you. So when we talk about moods, happy, sad, angry, scared, all that sort of stuff, don't say, you know, it's bad. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have that, that's bad. Just ask yourself, is that mood helpful? Is that helpful right now? So whenever you're feeling something, somebody's just cut you up in the car and you want to shout at them, you want to road rage at them, just ask yourself, is that helpful? And if the answer's no, then you know that mood doesn't need to be there, that feeling doesn't need to be there, and you can move on, because at the end of the day, it's a thought, and a thought is just generated by you, and you can control that thought to a point. And like I say, this is where my depression and most depressions, I guess, are different, because although yes, you can stop yourself doing certain things, you just can't stop that mood, that particular mood that you're in, my depressive state. I can't pull myself out of that, but what I can do is still control things like my anger, you know, my laughter, all that sort of stuff. I still have a control over that, and that's why a lot of people say, like, oh, but you look fine, you look happy. Robin Williams had what they call smiling depression, and Robin Williams, I'm sure you know him, you know, the actor, brilliant, one of my favourite actors, but he had smiling depression, which is why he was a comedian, because he was constantly happy. Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, help yourself. He was constantly seen to be happy and smiling and laughing, but deep down he was awful. He was in such a bad way. I've completely lost where I'm going. I'll be back in a minute. I think I need fuel. Let's go up, around, back down. So I'm aware of what's going on. That's the key thing. Once you're aware of what's happening and how you feel, then you can forgive yourself. And I think I've said it before, forgiving yourself is by far the best thing you can do. Really is the best thing you can do. You need to forgive yourself. It's not your fault, it's just the way it is. Yeah, nobody, you know, those around you are going to support you, but you need to forgive yourself. So here I am at the moment, and again doing these videos because I'm hoping that there's going to be people out there that might listen to me waffling on about you know, depression, anxiety and various other neurodivergent issues, of which, you know, I have depression, anxiety, and it's summed up in relationship issues, but it's known as an abandonment disorder. It's that fear of abandonment. You know, if you if you book a table for a curry or something at 9 o'clock, you guarantee I'll be there at 5:02, because my fear is that if I'm not there early, everybody else will turn up and leave, and they'll leave me on my own. But yeah, forgive yourself. That's primarily the first thing you need to learn to do. Yeah, give yourself some slack. We're all trying hard, we're all struggling, we've all got stuff going on, we've all got shit happening in our lives that we really don't need, that we really don't want. So, you know, give yourself a break, give yourself a pat on the back. Hey, doggies, look, doggy doesn't like, yeah, doggy doesn't like the bike. So yeah, give yourself a break. The next thing is, once you've established what's going on and you realise, okay, yeah, actually I'm depressed, tell your loved ones. That's what I do now. As soon as I realised, as soon as it twigged what was happening in my head, I messaged the wife and said, yep, it's back. So they're aware of it, they can offer you the support, and hopefully you have got people around you that support you in the way that I'm supported. I'm very, very fortunate, really. My wife and kids are very supportive of what's going on. But then, I guess we're all in the same boat, really. My son is autistic. My daughter has quite severe anxiety. And we're questioning ADHD. Obviously, I've got depression and anxiety, and the wife's got ADHD. So our house is basically a mad box of frogs. But anyway, yeah, forgive yourself. Don't fight it. Don't try and fight it. If you've got stuff going on in your life that you can't deal with because you're depressed, don't make your life worse by trying to do those things. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Yeah, if people care, they'll understand, and that's the key thing. If people care, they'll understand. If you've got anything going on and you reach out to people who are your friends or family and say, look, I can't do this, I've got stuff going on, and they have a go at you, I'd question their loyalty. So take your time, give yourself some forgiveness, and there are many tricks and tips and stuff out there that a professional can help you with. One that I've mentioned earlier, which is acceptance. That's a big thing. Just accept how you feel. Don't try and fight it. Don't try and now say, oh, I can't feel like that, I'm going to try and make myself happy, or I'm going to try and calm down or whatever. Don't try and do that. It's not going to work. Just accept that that's how you feel, and keep it in the back of your mind that, yeah, at the moment I feel depressed. So all the other things that are going to happen, you know, I'm still going to talk to my wife, I'm still going to play with my children, I'm still going to go to work, but I'm going to do it knowing that, you know what, I'm depressed, or I'm anxious, or I'm not at my best. So again, cut yourself some slack, okay? I think I'm gonna leave it there for now, because quite frankly, it's a bit exhausting doing all this talking. I love doing it, don't get me wrong, and I sincerely hope somebody takes something from it, that it helps somebody, that it gives you a bit of insight, or it might give you the thought of, oh bloody hell, it's not just me, or whatever it is, it gives you a bit of comfort, yeah? But quite frankly, talking about stuff like this is bloody exhausting. Until the next time, have a great time, and once again, any questions that you've got, please just ask, yeah, just message me, reach out, whatever it is you need to do. Give me a nudge. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next week on the next one.